Hello and welcome to Scalefusion webinars. Today, we are going to discuss how endpoint management and zero trust access work together as a bundle to enhance the security of your Windows devices. I'm Sia Joshi and I'm a senior marketing analyst at Scalefusion. With me, I have Sumit Nayak, who is the head of support at Scalefusion, who is also our product and platform expert. He will be heading this webinar as we progress ahead. Let us quickly run through the agenda of this presentation. We will first start with the principle of Unified Endpoint Management and Zero Trust Access, followed by a detailed exploration of how UEM and ZTA work together as a bundle to secure your Windows devices. We will then talk about Scalefusion One Agent, followed by its key features, use cases, and a live demonstration headed by our product expert Sumit. So let us start without waiting further. Over to you, Sumit.
Thank you, Sia. Hello, everyone. Sumit Nayak here from the product team, your co host for the evening. Today, we are going to talk about, or rather, we are going to experience Scalefusion UEM backed by its competent and potent zero trust access security using Scalefusion's one IDP. All of this stitched together to provide you the comprehensive security that you deserve on your Windows devices. As you're already aware of Scalefusion's UEM prowess, this is now backed by the zero trust access policies using Scalefusion one IDP. Well, traditionally, the devices have not been tied to user identities or conditions or accesses, right? They've never been tied to compliances based on user identity. With the UEM backed by the zero trust access policy, this is what you will see and you will experience on the devices. The user identities tied to the devices with conditions not only on the lock screen but via single sign on inside what's being accessed on the devices. All of this and much more in a demo that you should see shortly. Automated compliances, you ensure that only updated compliant devices are accessing your enterprise resources on the device. Reduced IT overhead, absolutely. There is no manual intervention. You don't need to now physically visit the devices for compliances. You don't need to physically patch the devices or look at the devices in terms of a user experience, right? You set it up automatically using Scalefusion's UEM policies, backed by the zero trust access compliance for login, not only on the device, but on the applications as well. A seamless user experience, one click access to work applications, frictionless authentication, making the overall experience not only compliant but very fruitful as well. Comprehensive device management, as I mentioned earlier, Scalefusion's prowess into device management comes into picture. You not only enforce policies, you manage updates. At the same time, you secure your enterprise data. We believe that enterprises need, or rather require, a holistic approach that merges the device management, of course, that's via UEM, backed by a zero trust access, all stitched into one secure framework. The holistic approach, something that was being long missed in the UEM space, something that Scalefusion has not only mitigated but also has completely eliminated the risk factor. And how did we do that? We did that using our one agent approach. So the one agent under the hood, not only for your UEM, right? Not only for your device management, but also for your identity and access management. Let me stand corrected. Secure and conditional one identity and access using Scalefusion's one IDP. So some feature sets, of course, there are a lot more than this, but I'll just run down what is the offering specifically for Windows in terms of securing enterprises and securing your corporate data. UEM, of course, encryption via file vault, drive encryption, where the key syncs directly into the dashboard so that your drives remain safe. Password management, you can set passcodes, you can set passcode policies, you can set passcode complexities. Firewall and defender policies directly integrated within the dashboard, real-time compliance checks, OS updates and patch updates, not just your Windows OS updates and patches, but also third party patching for all the applications that are available on the device. Remote wipe, well, this is part of the DLP policy where the corporate data remains secured, and web content filtering. We control the web access as well as to what the users can access on the web and what is denied on the web. Now, bundle this together with the one IDP solution. What do we offer? We offer the directory. You either bring your own directory. It does not matter you're using Google Workspace or Entra or any other form of directory, including your on-premise Active Directory. We can all integrate that directly into the Scalefusion dashboard. A keycard-based login, which we will see in a little bit, keycard-based online login and offline login for devices, single sign-on, and mind you, this is not just a single sign-on the traditional way, single sign-on with compliance and conditions, the differentiator that Scalefusion brings to the table. Multi-factor authentication and just-in-time admin, just-in-time privilege management. If you want to elevate your standard user to administrative privileges, you can use that using just a simple just-in-time configuration. Moving on. Now, what is a directory? Like I said, you either bring your own directory. Well, if you don't have a directory, we will provide you with a default domain, the one IDP domain, through which you can manage your own directory of users. Now, this comes specifically handy for your knowledge workers who do not have access to emails, who are not inherently part of your directory. Now, what happens next? Right? You've imported the users, and you have to map them to the devices, right? If you need to know who is using, which user is using what device, and they just cannot use it just because they have the login credentials, right? There are conditions that they need to comply to, conditions like your location, your Wi-Fi SSID, the IP range, or even the date and time for that matter. You do that, you apply a simple keycard, and they are good to access. If any of the compliance checks fail, they are blocked from logging in on the device, right at the door, right at the keycard. Of course, then once they are inside the device, they have access to all their applications, the application that you have configured from the dashboard. One click access. Now, you may ask, what if the device is not compliant, but I've somehow managed to bypass the keycard and then I'm inside the device? Well, there will be compliance checks on application level as well. We will see that in a demo in a bit shortly. Now, how does this work on an unmanaged device? Let's say there is a situation where you have to access your work apps, you have to access, let's say, your Outlook email on an unmanaged device, a device that is not managed by Scalefusion. How do you do that? Oh, well, if you, as an IT admin, do not wish that the user accesses his or her corporate data on a device that is not trusted, that is not managed by Scalefusion, where you can simply block the device. Go ahead and do not let the users access their application on a device that is unmanaged. They're simply blocked out of it. Now, let's say you do not wish to have such stringent measures. Rather, you would want them to have access, but based on a multi-factor authentication. Now, where would that authentication come from? That authentication would simply come from the Scalefusion Authenticator app or any application of your choice, as long as they are able to authenticate themselves using either Scalefusion's Authenticator that is present on a managed device or any authenticator app of your choice. Yes, once they have satisfied that condition, the user is granted access as an exception because they are able to authenticate themselves. Well, now it's time for the live demo. Let's go ahead and look at how this actually works in reality. I've set up a demo device here. I've set up a virtual machine, and I'll also have a device that is unmanaged. So we will look at how it behaves on a managed device. What are the compliance check that it goes through, and how the behavior appears on an unmanaged device, right? Okay. Let me also walk through the dashboard and show you bits of the configuration, and then we'll jump onto the device. Yeah. Okay. This is the all familiar Scalefusion dashboard. I'll not run through the UEM settings that you're already familiar with. We'll jump into the 1IDP settings directly. As mentioned earlier, if you can see the directory settings, right? You can add as many domains as you wish to. Like I've configured several domains here. One is the 1IDP domain, the default domain that is provided. At the same time, I've also configured my workspace, Google Workspace domain, of course, the testing domain. I've also verified and added my Microsoft Entra domain. So for today's demo, we are going to use Entra as the specimen. So once you have configured the directory, you have verified it, you verified the DNS settings, you prove to us that you are actually the owner of the domain. The next step would be to simply import your users, like how I've done here. You simply go ahead and import your users, connect it to your Entra, your workspace. They'll all be here in one click. Right now, let's move ahead and then let's look at the keycard setting. The keycard setting is for the login experience on the device. Of course, you can customize the organization logo, choose a wallpaper like how I've done here. Of course, this is a boring wallpaper. You can have something more colorful with your branding. You can customize the lock screen message like the way I've configured. Hello, this is a demo device. You can simply screen preview how it would look on Windows and how it would look on a Mac OS as well. You can preview the screen and you can customize the options on the lock screen. Would you want to showcase the restart button, the shutdown button, the sleep button on the lock screen, Wi-Fi utilities, the help button for Windows, and you can also configure a support message. All of this from the dashboard, and of course, you can screen preview how it would look. Here are some more keycard settings. If you wish to allow local user login, you can do that, or you can simply disallow. So any local users or local accounts that are created on the device, they would not be, they would not be able to access their account. They would be prohibited. You can set compliance checks, the frequency, low, high, medium, depending on how aggressive you want the compliance check to be. Well, file vault for Mac OS. You want to save passwords locally. What would be the account tab that is created on the device? Standard admin. Of course, this is an online login. It will be an online account that is created. We will see that in a bit. The conditions that I spoke about, right? If you want to tie the device down to a geofence, you would want the device to be accessed only and only in your office premise. You can simply go ahead and select a geofence for your office premises. You can define as many office locations as you wish to and just simply add the geofences here. IP range, if you want the device to log in, if you want the users to log in only when they are connected to your office Wi-Fi or a Wi-Fi of your choice that you trust, right? You simply define the IP range here. You just the network of your choice, you define that. Same here, if you can choose to have the users log in only when they are connected to a specific Wi-Fi SSID. Let's say they go home and the Wi-Fi SSID is different to what you've configured on the dashboard, they'll not be able to log in. Date and time, we go above and beyond that. You can also configure a date and time on the device, right? For the time that they can actually access the device. Let's say I want my employees to not work on Saturday, Sunday. I know this does not hold true in reality, but if you are someone who wants to give your employees the actual off on Saturday and Sunday, you can do that. You can simply choose to not have Saturday and Sunday configured, and they'll not be able to access. If you want, you can simply allow Saturdays and then disallow on Sundays, and you can also allow a date and time, right? Great. Now, this is about a key card. Now, this would be the entry point, the entry gate to the device login. Then you can go ahead and set up the SSO, like the way I have set up for Entra. Simple configurations. Unlike a lot of other solutions, we would not want you to run scripts and configure PowerShells and make this complicated. It is a simple setup. You grant us permissions and you grant us the SSO settings, and that's it. There's tons of settings here. I'll not run down everything. I'll just run down the conditional bit. You can set conditions on browsers. What are the browsers? The minimum version on the browsers that is required to access your work data. If it fails, they'll simply be blocked. At the same time, you can configure device policies on which device. Now, if you see here, everything is covered, right? From the mobile, right? The Android, the iOS, the iPad OS, Windows, Mac OS, Linux, Chrome OS, everything. What should be the behavior on the device? Right now, I have set the devices to be blocked if the devices are not managed by Scalefusion. If you try to access your Outlook email on a device that is not managed by Scalefusion, it'll be blocked. Well, this was about the configurations. Now let us jump in and look at how it looks on the device. Now, this is a non-managed device, and this is a managed device. Let me just full screen this, right? Now, this is a managed device. Let me log off. I have a bunch of test users here. So this is my test machine. I'll just sign off the user, and we'll see the experience. So traditionally, you would create local users on the device. You'd go on the device and you would create local users. It'll be a local user with a local password, right? With OneIDP, that changes. I can simply add my work account. I can simply add my work email here, my Microsoft O365 email. I use the password and I'll be through. I'll be able to log in. I don't need to create another local account on the device. In the interest of time, I've already configured a online user. So this is my test user, my Microsoft Entra user. Let me go ahead and log in. Once I log in, you see what happens. Now, if any of the conditions failed, let's say I was not connected to the desired IP range or the Wi-Fi SSID or the date and time, it would simply fail and I would not be able to log in. Now, this is the state on the managed device. Now, let's go inside the managed. Let's see how it works on the application side. What would you typically do? You launch the browser and you would launch the email application, right? And you would access the email. Now, this is the managed device. Now, let me go to an unmanaged device here. Just bear with me for a second. Yes. Now, this is an unmanaged device, a device that is not managed into Scalefusion. Let's see what happens. This is the ID. I use the password. Now, this device is not managed. Let me try logging in. Now, the compliance check appears. Now, again, mind you, this is a device that is not managed. This is my personal device where I'm doing the demo. Let me say click compliance and check. It will do the checks for what you set in the profile, what we saw a little while ago. If the device is not managed or the compliance check fails, you would simply not be able to log into the application. It will be blocked. So let's see what happens. So this is the first time running it. So it takes anywhere between 30 seconds to 45 seconds. So it's still doing the checks. Let's wait to see what happens here. You see, the access was immediately blocked. Of course, you can customize this message to your liking. Currently, what does it say? It says, please enroll your device to Scalefusion to get access to this application. please contact your IT team for enrollment instructions. So which implies that this device was not trusted. This is not a trusted device. If this is not a trusted device, you cannot access your work applications. Any application that uses your Microsoft O365 login, which is tied to your Microsoft O365 credentials, any device in the world, you try to access your application, you would have to go through compliance checks. If you fail, just like how it happened right now, this is not a trusted device. Obviously, it failed the compliance check, so you were blocked. Now, let me go back to the virtual machine, the machine that is managed. Let me log off and sign in again, and let me walk you through the behavior once again. I'm signed off. Like I said, I can simply add a work account and get going. I don't need to create a local user. Now let me log in here and let's see the behavior on the device. Let me refresh, right? This is in. Now let me launch Microsoft Edge. Okay, let me restore. It's the same account that we're using. You see, this will always direct you to OneIDP's compliance page. You can customize the branding how you wish to. You can have your organization logo and your own message here. I'll say check. And again, I'll say sign in. Check compliance and sign in. This is the same flow that we saw, or rather, we noticed on the unmanaged device. Device is managed by Scalefusion. You see, the access was granted because the device was compliant. Now let me go to the dashboard and showcase this device to you. We go to the devices section, and here's the device, the demo device. You see the enrollment email, the email that I used, my Entra email used to log in. As you can see, it's part of the SSO group, and here are the basic statistics of the device, the location of the device where I am at. I just scroll down, the applications on the device, the accounts that are present on the device. If you see, this is the account that I logged in, right? Now, you don't need, like I said, you don't need to do any user intervention to actually manage accounts. You can simply do it all from here. You can delete the user, you can hide the user, right? Now, let me also go to the SSO configuration and show you the behavior of how it looks like. If I say view details, you can exactly see I attempted to log in on 3 devices. One device is in managed state, the one that is currently logged in, and 2 devices I invoked the multi-factor authentication. So you see the history, you see everything. Now, if you want to simply block the user, just one click and you block the user. You want to log him off all the sessions that are currently active for their work applications, you can simply do this. So this is the bundled solution, the robust offering that your organization deserves. And this is all accomplished using Scalefusion UEM plus the Zero Trust Access Policy using Scalefusion One IDP. So we have a prestigious clientele that is currently using the One IDP solution suite along with UEM. I would like to showcase you a story of a leading FMCG firm that achieved operational success with the bundled solution of Scalefusion UEM plus One IDP. was it for the demo. That was it for the webinar today. This is Sumit Nayak signing off. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to sales@scalefusion.com. To explore Scalefusion further, please visit www.scalefusion.com. You can sign up for a 14-day free trial or book a demo with one of our experts for a personalized walkthrough of the platform. Until next time, this is Sumit signing off. Thank you.